I'm Caitlin. I'm a certified MAP practitioner who has been working really hard to bring this modality to my community and to people at large in a more accessible way. When I first became a certified MAP practitioner, and even before then when I was still working through my certification and doing supervised sessions and working with clients, I realized I wanted to make this modality something that was more accessible to a larger range of people. And part of my own story is there have been large portions of my life where I have not had the financial resources to be able to necessarily see a certified practitioner for a one-on-one session for any type of thing that I might generally need. But people also need to be able to afford to support their families. And so for the past 2 years, that's been my push and pull struggle is I want to work with more clients, but I could not continue to work with more clients because I ended up having to get a standard corporate 9 to 5 in order to support my son and I so that I could continue seeing clients on a donation basis, which is what I've been doing for the past 2 years. And over the course of that time, I realized that I can do both. I can make this modality so much more accessible and give people more options so that people with a wider range of needs can have those needs met while still meeting with clients one-on-one, which I love to do, and also build something that can support my community and support my son and I. So that's what's been in the works for the past 2 years is I have been creating a self-paced way to utilize MAP method. And I'm really excited about it. We go live on January 17th, and the first self-paced option that is going live is going to be the one specifically curated around people who are struggling through and trying to find healing and peace through chronic illness. For myself, my Hashimoto's diagnosis was what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back, that got me to take all of my trauma history seriously and work on healing my nervous system and work on rewiring my brain. Before that, I just thought I was really, really bad at dealing with what everybody was dealing with. I didn't realize I just had PTSD and anxiety and depression, and that those are that's a very common normal response to extreme levels of trauma that are sustained over decades. In my case, MAP method was that turning point for me. It was the change that made every other modality actually start to work. It made breath work finally possible because my nervous system was free enough to allow me to feel safe enough to take full deep breaths. It was the thing that finally made things like EMDR on a very limited basis, I still can't do a lot of it, work. It made talk therapy actually functional because it rewired my brain enough and got me enough out of that PTSD spiral that talk therapy and talking through and skills building was no longer just a huge trigger fest that left me completely wiped out for weeks at a time, but actually effective. And MAP method was that change for me. So I went and busted my butt to be able to bring this modality to those around me, and I'm really excited about that. You're probably wondering, why does somebody need a self-paced option? Like, isn't all modalities like you sit in a room and you work with somebody face to face? Well, not necessarily for MAP method. MAP method is really unique in the fact that it can be utilized in so many different ways. Yes, you have the one-on-one. Most MAP practitioners, myself included, typically see people over Zoom after I've met somebody once. If they're a good fit for it, I can meet them over the phone. Some of my clients prefer that. It depends. Like I said, it's very individualized. However, because MAP method is a modality that is training your brain how to heal itself, which is amazing, any way that your brain can receive information, MAP method will work. So yes, We love the one-on-one sessions. However, that's not always accessible to everybody. A standard price for a one-on-one session, which lasts about 90 minutes, is going to average about $250. Worth it? Absolutely. Within everybody's ability to do right now? No, especially with the economy the way it is. And I get that. I have been there for a large chunk of my life, as I said. Group sessions for MAP are also an option because it is your brain that is doing the work. Whatever you are focusing on and able to hold space for, you can then do a group session. So everybody can hold space for their own stuff. The practitioner is guiding your brain through. Very, very effective. Yes, slightly less effective than a one-on-one session. Yes, still one of the gentlest and most powerful modalities that there is. Also, yes. The next way that you can utilize MAP is the written word, because any way you can take in information to your brain can utilize. MAP sessions can be written down. I like to use this as guided journal sessions is how I prefer to use the written word concept for a MAP session. Not only does it work for people that can't hear because they can do a transcription of a session, they can also use it for journaling. If you would like to use MAP method in a journal setting, if that works really well for you, and you need more of that space of not having a practitioner in your field all of the time, and you want to work on some more, maybe some parts of yourself that don't feel comfortable being observed, journaling is a great way to do that. And a MAP method guided journal session is a wonderful resource for you. And I happen to create those. And one of my favorite ways, and one of the most deeply healing ways that I have utilized MAP method, has been a combination of subliminal and recorded sessions. I've initially started doing this just for myself because I've had 5 concussions, which means my brain is susceptible to overprocessing. That is also there because of the PTSD. Something that we find more common in MAP method is people with a PTSD diagnosis or background and or a concussion history are more likely to be more susceptible to something like overprocessing or memory flooding, as we call it. What is that, you might ask? I would love to tell you. I have experienced this. It's not pleasant, which is why we go slow and steady, especially if you have a high trauma history. Flooding or overprocessing, 2 names for basically the same thing. It is in MAP method where your brain starts processing so much more than it is used to. It feels like it can't stop because there's so much that it wants to work through, that it keeps pulling memories, and they're all connected. And it can do that for hours or days. And we don't want that. It can be re-traumatizing, it's exhausting, and it feels scary. We don't like that. And the whole point of MAP is slow, steady, and safe, even though it is so much quicker than any other modality that we have access to at this point with our current understanding of science. And it is incredibly gentle. Even with that, processing can feel intense, especially if you try to go too fast. Did I try to go too fast at one point because I got really excited about the fact that I was making progress for the first time? Yes. Yeah. Do I recommend my clients do as I did? No, I do not. So we don't do that. However, during a time when I had to take a break from conscious MAP sessions, that's those one-on-one sessions I was talking about. They are the most potent form of MAP method that you can utilize. There was a time I took about a 6-month break, and I took that break for 2 reasons. One, I ended up having my first real memory flooding. So my brain processed for about 3 days. It was very uncomfortable. I don't recommend that. And anytime I tried to do a conscious MAP session after that, it felt like a little bit too much. My brain was, maybe not. However, because of that, I had a lot of stuff coming up. My depression was really wanting some attention because my anxiety was masking it. The MAP basically cleared my anxiety at the time. My anxiety had never been that good. But my anxiety was what was pushing me through the depression. I didn't realize depression was quite the issue that it was until the anxiety was not there, propping it up and keeping me in a good place. So I had to work on that depression, and it needed to be slow and steady and safe. I started building subliminal map sessions, specifically around, originally it was the depression, and then I ended up leaning into very much working on my chronic illness, both Hashimoto's and Raynaud's. Hashimoto's diagnosed postpartum, Raynaud's I've had since I was 15, and they were both really, really effing up my quality of life massively. If you have chronic illness, you know. And I wanted a way to work on all of those loops and all of those patterns from having had some form of chronic illness for a decent chunk of my life since I was a teenager. And they helped. It helped more than anything I've ever done. Subliminals are slower. They are so much safer though, and they connect directly to that subconscious part of your brain. Although MAP is already working with your subconscious brain, I I personally like to listen to subliminals as I'm falling asleep. I have clients that like it both ways. I have some clients that are like, I love to listen to it going to sleep, and others that are like, I feel like it brings up too much when I go to sleep. I prefer to listen to it first thing in the morning and do a little bit of journaling and then go about my day. So you do you, boo. I don't care when you do your subliminals. If you start to get subliminals from me, I just care that you do them. You do them consistently because it makes the world of difference when you are consistently reprogramming and rewiring your subconscious brain, and you just get to listen to some really calming music while your brain does all of the work. It's magical. It is so magical. So I decided to build a thing that wasn't just for me, it was for my clients. And it's a combination of subliminal map sessions specifically targeted to healing and processing through chronic illness and our relationship with chronic illness and our emotions around chronic illness and the body functions that go with chronic illness, the nervous system, all of the things that are intended to be listened to nightly, combined with recorded map sessions along the same topic so you can consciously work through things as they come up. Those are to be listened to once a week, every other week, depending on you, depending on how your brain processes and how you feel after processing. And I combine that with some journal prompts. That way you can be journaling through, which is an amazing thing anyways. Like science already tells us, journaling is the way to go. Even if you burn it after you journal, get some shit down on paper, okay? Get something down on somewhere. Record something on your phone. Get it out of your system so it doesn't just sit there and ruminate and continue to loop and continue to loop and continue to loop. Getting it out helps break the loop, or at least complete the loop, which is what we want. We want that. So I've been building that. I have been building that, refining it, having people test it out for about 2 years, and we're finally going to go live. And I'm very, very excited about this. I'm also excited to have people have a way to actually like book with me, because right now you send me an email, we find a time, we get you in there. That's how we do this. If you would like to work with me before we go live, send me an email. My email will be linked underneath this video, and we will find a time that works for you. If standard average price is something that you're like, ouch, I just absolutely cannot swing it, I will work with you. I will work with you to make it work, because I want everybody to heal and everybody to be the best version of themselves and feel safe in their body and feel safe in their surroundings. If their surroundings are safe, if your surroundings are not safe, that's a whole different conversation, and we can have that conversation. That's too much to fit into this one little video right here, right now. Anyways, so all that to say, there are some amazing things coming. We go live January 17th, 2026. 2026 is going to be a good year. 2025 was not a bad year. It was a year, though. It's definitely been a year. It's been a lot of building, a lot of growth, a lot of shedding of things that no longer need do be. Yeah. So we're going to be covering some more topics, go a little bit more in depth, as I said, in the next month or so, exactly how MAP kind of works, our best understanding of it, different aspects that we use it for. But I'm just really excited about this launch. I'm really excited that you guys are along for the ride. Just excited in general. And thank you so much for making it through this video. If you made it all the way through this video, like it if you want to, because you either like it or hate it if you made it through this far. If you hate it, you can go ahead and beef in my comments. That's fine. I don't care. And you can follow along, subscribe, follow, and find me in all of the things. Main one, yeah, find me in all the places. Talk to you guys later.